Chapter 10. I froze. So close, I thought. So close! The window stood only 5 steps away. 5 steps and I would have been out of there. But the 5 steps seemed so far, as 5 miles now. I shut my eyes and waited for Tasha to cry out. Instead, I heard Miss Richards' voice come from in the hall. "Tasha, would you come here for a moment?" I opened my eyes in time to see Tasha disappear back out the door. Had she seen me? No. No way, she would have screamed. Whew! I let out a long sigh and I dove out the window. I landed on my elbows and knees, scrambled frantically to my feet, and started running. I didn't even bother to close the window. Too risky, I decided. For the 3rd time in 4 days, I ran all the way home. On Friday and Saturday, I ran home a disgrace, a loser, a creep. Tonight, I ran home a winner, a champion, a genius. I let myself silently into the house. I could hear voices from the TV in the den. Mom and Dad were still watching the Weather Channel. I listened for a moment in the front hallway, catching my breath. Bad storms in the Pacific Northwest. Flood warnings. A few weeks ago, I tried to get Mom and Dad to switch channels to MTV, but they hated MTV because it never gave the weather. I felt so happy, so excited I wanted to rush into the den and tell them all about my great joke. But of course I couldn't do that. Instead, I made my way silently up to my room and closed the door. Who could I call? I had to call someone. I had to share my little secret with someone. But who? Iris. Yes, Iris. She would appreciate it. Iris would understand. My heart pounding, I reached for my phone. It took me a while to remember Iris's last name. I had only heard her say it once. Chandler? Candle? Candler? Yes, Iris Candler. I got the phone number from information and called her. The phone rang once, twice. Iris picked up after the 3rd ring. We both said hello, and she sounded surprised to hear from me. "Guess where I went tonight?" I asked her. But I didn't wait for her to guess. I blurted out the whole story. It all just burst out of me, and I don't think I took a single breath. "Is that great or what?" I demanded, when I had told her every detail. I laughed. "The paper comes out tomorrow," I said. "Tasha won't be sleeping much tomorrow night. She'll be getting calls all night from every kid in school." I waited for Iris to laugh, but I heard only a long silence on her end of the line. "Don't you think that's funny?" I asked, finally. "Kind of," she replied. "But I have a bad feeling about it, Ricky. A very bad feeling." "Iris, it's just a joke," I told her. "What could go wrong?" Chapter 11. When I arrived at school the next morning, guess who I saw first? You're right, Tasha. She turned her nose up at me as if she smelled rotten fish. Then she hurried past me without saying a word. I didn't care. I thought about my little surprise for Tasha on the bottom of the Herald's front page. I knew it would keep me smiling all day. Believe me, I needed something to smile about. As I turned the corner to go to my locker, Josh and Greg, 2 kids from my class, deliberately bumped into me. "Ricky, stop bumping into me," Josh said. Greg bumped me again, then he pushed me into Josh. "Hey, give me a break. I said stop bumping into me," Josh cried. "Get a life," I muttered. I dodged away from them. They walked off, laughing, bumping each other from side to the hall to the other. Funny guys, huh? About as funny as a broken arm. I pulled open my locker and started unloading books from my backpack. "Hey, Ricky, want to wash my dad's car?" A kid named Tony shouted from across the hall. I had my head in my locker. I didn't look around. I heard kids laughing at Tony's hilarious joke. "Hey, Ricky, want to wash something?" Tony called. "Wash your face." What a joker. Everyone laughed again. I slammed my locker door and walked past them without saying a word. This is all Tasha's fault, I told myself, but I'm going to have the last laugh tonight. I turned the corner and headed to class. I saw Brenda and Bort at the water fountain against the wall. I tried to run past them, but I wasn't fast enough. Brenda pressed her hand over the fountain and shot a spray of cold water onto the front of my shirt. "Have a squirt, squirt," Bort called. Big laughter up and down the hall. "My dad is suing you for wrecking his car," Bort called. "He's suing your family for every penny they've got." "Tell them to get in line," I muttered under my breath. Ricky Rat," someone chanted. Welcome to Pick on Ricky Day at Harding Middle School. Unfortunately, every day is Pick on Ricky Day. But tonight, Today I didn't care. Today I knew I'd end up a winner. Today the joke was on Tasha. The student newspaper would be handed out this afternoon, and Tasha would be up all night answering phone calls. Sweet, sweet revenge would be mine. That night I had to go out for dinner with my parents and my cousin who lived across town. Mom and Dad didn't bring me home until 9:30, and I had about only 2 hours of homework to do, so I didn't tuck myself into bed until nearly 12. Very late for a school night. I just started to drift off to sleep when the phone beside my bed rang. I squinted at my clock radio. 2 minutes until 12. Now who would call this late? I asked myself. Chapter 12. I fumbled from the phone in the dark, knocking it off the bed table. It clattered loudly onto the floor. I dove out of bed and grabbed the receiver, and then I hunched on my knees listening for Mom and Dad. Did they hear the phone ring? I'm not allowed to get calls after 10 o'clock. I cleared my throat and raised my phone to my ear. Hello? Ricky! It's me, Iris! I glanced at my clock radio again. Iris, it's midnight. How come you're calling so late? I asked. Are you okay? Oh, my father was on the phone practically the whole night. Ricky, did you see the school paper? She demanded in an urgent whisper. Huh? No, I replied, climbing on the edge of my bed. When they started to pass out the newspaper, I got called to the library. The librarian wanted to ask me about a bunch of books I lost. When I came to the back of the room, all the papers were gone. So you didn't see the paper? Iris asked shrilly. No, I repeated. I didn't get my copy. Is it great? Can you read the message at the bottom okay? Well, Iris hesitated. Is it great? I asked excitedly. Not exactly, Iris replied softly. Actually, Ricky, you're in major trouble. I'm what? I squeezed the phone to my ear. She was talking so softly I could barely hear her. Iris, I'm what? In major trouble, she repeated. A chill swept down my back. Major trouble? But, Iris, why? What do you mean? I sputtered. The message, she startled. Then she stopped, silence on the other end. Iris, I can't hear you, I said. Iris. Uh-oh, she murmured. I've got to get off. My dad is screaming at me. But Iris, I insisted, why am I in trouble? You've got to tell me. I'm getting off, I heard her call to her father. It was only a short call, Dad. I know it's midnight. Iris, please, tell me. Tell me before you hang up, I begged. Gotta go. Bye, she said. I heard a click. The line went dead. I slammed the receiver down angrily. What was her problem? Why couldn't she just tell me why I was in trouble? I slid the phone back into place beside the clock radio and climbed into bed. I punched my pillow a few times, puffing it up, and then I pulled the blankets up to my chin. I shut my eyes and tried to calm down enough to fall asleep. The phone rang again. I sat straight up with a startled gasp. This time I managed to pick up the phone without knocking it to the floor. Iris, thanks for calling me back, I whispered. I saw your message in the school newspaper, a voice whispered. Iris? I swallowed hard. I knew it wasn't Iris. I saw your message, the voice whispered. I am calling you as instructed. Huh? You're calling me? I cried. Yes, I'm following your instructions, came the whispered reply. Hey, who is this? I demanded. I'm a creep.